Hey 2D, let's have a quick look at Filter M12. And this is another plugin in the FX collection by Arturia. Really love this one, and it's really simple to use, and it's very effective. It has some unique stuff in it, and basically it is based on the Matrix 12 filter. So it's already cool. And what we have here is actually a couple of filters. We have filter A and we have filter B, and you can combine them in different ways. So just before I dive in, really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, then hit the like button, of course. And if you have any question, please leave a comment. So yeah, let's dive in. So we have two filters and they are identical. So I'll show you one of them. So filter A, you have the mode, and you see all these options here. You have low pass, band pass, high pass, and multi-stage, and so on. And we can select the different ones. What I really suggest is you go and do what I do and check out the user manual. And you'll find a lot of information about filters and about how this particular plugin works. So for me it was interesting, but I'll try and give you a good starting point here. So we're just selecting any of these, and if you don't know what's the difference, then experiment. But of course, low pass will let the low frequencies pass. High pass, for example, will let the high frequencies pass, and so on. So that's basic filter stuff. So after selecting the mode, then you can play with the cutoff. What I'll do now is let's go back to the default, and I'll just play something here. So this is what we have, as it is. I'll just bypass. And I have just a bit of delay here. That delay that you hear is also by Arturia. That's the eternity, and I already covered that, so check out my channel, and I have it in the 3 delays that they released recently. And so this is how it sounds without anything. Let's go back to pigments here. And playing with the cutoff, of course, will in this mode, in the low pass, will just reduce or attenuate the high frequencies. And we have a pan knob and an out knob. Now the idea is here, when you have two filters, then you can actually combine them, and you can combine them either in series, meaning filter A will feed filter B, or your signal will feed filter A and the result will be feeding filter B. Or you can have them in parallel, which means that they are not connected directly, meaning your signal will feed A separately and B separately, and you can mess around with those settings. So next we have this center panel here where you have the dry and wet, and you can just change the ratio here, so you still get your original sound. Right, and we can change this. Let's take something else. And the master cutoff will give you an effect on both of these filters at the same time. So play with that. That goes from minus 100% to plus 100%. Of course, the power of any filter is not only to take out some of the frequencies or maybe boost other frequencies, but it is to automate that over time and give you a sense of movement. And let's just select some of, some presets here and explore that. So what we are seeing here in the center panel here, which is the most interesting panel of all, is our envelopes. And these are not regular envelopes. I would call them functions. And these functions can help you then shape how other parameters will react. And you can see that we have the matrix here. And that matrix works very simple. So let's go back to the default and see how that works and play with that. So first of all, we have some pre-configured destinations. So the top row here, that's the destination. And if you click this, you can select whatever destination you want. For example, I can select for this, let's take the pan. So here you go. We have the pan. And then we have 5 different engines, I would say, or functions to modulate those destinations. And I have my envelope 1, 2, and 3, random, and modulation oscillator. And so the random is here, the modulation oscillator, which is sort of, I would say, LFO, is here. And you can select different shapes. And let's see how that works. So I can take, for example, filter A cutoff, which is this knob here, and say, okay, you will be reacting to whatever envelope 1 is doing. So I'll do 100%, that's 1. And I can do minus, which will be just the opposite, and we'll see how that works. So let's just play something. And nothing special is going on. But if I'll start drawing all these, shapes here, then you'll see what happens. And so what really happens is that our cutoff, let's just position it here on 80% or so. So it will just, as if somebody is just turning it, up and down. That's what really happens. And I have a rate multiplier, and I can go up to 8. Or it could be very slow. Okay, let's go back to 1. But something else that is really cool here is that those little triangles, and if you just click and drag, you'll get those curves here. And I can do some other stuff. So I can go and say, okay, so envelope 2, this is envelope 2. Let's play with the panning and do this. And again, I can draw something like this. Right, wrong notes, but anyway, you get the idea. And this is how you just work with this matrix. It's pretty simple, and it's very easy to use. You just have to get a sense of what it is that you're doing. And there are other things that going on here. For example, there are different options here, like audio threshold trigger, which is basically triggering this function according to the input signal. But you can also do it in a loop. So right now it will just loop. And so on. And I can go on, and I can say, okay, let's have filter B output affected by this modulation oscillator. And again, some of the stuff here is really dependent on the resonance that you're setting, because the resonance will boost around the cutoff point. And if you know anything about filters, you know that when you're playing with the cutoff and you have resonance, then you'll get that wah-wah sound. And I can do something like this. And so on. So I think that's the basic idea here, and you know, just to get you started with the M12 filter. So yeah, that's it for now. Just play with that. I'll just loop through some of the presets and let you just enjoy that. And I'll see you in the next video.